is the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jack wagons. Brad the Big Noise Evans here. The good sir Nathaniel Lundy as well. It is indeed the Fade 5 Podcast presented by our buddies Suavecito Tequila. Pick up a fine bottle of the Añejo this weekend. Sip on it and thank me later because it is ultra smooth. Unlike some of my wagers last night. Oh, so close on a late Jamar Chase touchdown. Nearly had it, but got tackled by the shoelaces and did not get me on a profitable side. But there is ample action left on the docket in NFL Week 3, but we also have some action on the junior circuit in college football. So, Lundy, give me your pick to click among the collegiate athletes out there. I think there are roughly 3,000 games on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. There's a ton. I'm working on the You Bet College Football Show for tomorrow morning here in Denver on Altitude, and I've realized there's just way too many damn games for me to be able to deal with. But, Brad, I'll tell you what, I've got to pick in bonus time. I've got an alt-line thing for you for some of the action tonight, the Friday night action. But for tomorrow, how about this one? Brad, since 2014, I remember it well. When the service academies play each other, the under is 21-2-1. That is what the under is, and the over-under between the midshipmen, who will be, say that carefully, the midshipmen and the Air Force Falcons is at 38.5. I'm going to follow the trend that we have seen for the last 8 years, and I'm going to take the under. You get both of these teams. They do nothing but run the ball, which means all you've got is a clock that is constantly moving. So down at the academy in Colorado Springs, about an hour and some change south of where I'm sitting right now, give me the under tomorrow morning between Navy and Air Force at 38.5. Grab that one at DraftKings.
I kind of like Air Force minus 14. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, me too.
So how about... Yeah, like 24-9, something like that.
I think we could handle that. But isn't that a crazy? I mean, we're talking about 24 meetings and 21 have hit the under, regardless of which academy is playing which academy. It's just that's what's happened when the service academies play each other in the last 8 years.
Yeah, definitely low scoring galore for either one of those teams. That could be the case yet again this weekend. My pick to click on Saturday. Let's go to the Mac Daddies, and talk about the Kent State, Ohio matchup. And I absolutely love the Golden Flashes, the artist formerly known as Antonio Gates University, or maybe it still is Antonio Gates University. But I think they're going to cover with ease on the 11.5. Against the Bobcats of the OHIO. And the reason being is simple. Look who Kent State has played. They were competitive, very much so, on the road at the University of Georgia last week, only lost by 17. They also played at Oklahoma. Now, they lost by 30 in that game. And at the undefeated and now nationally ranked Washington Huskies, and they lost by 25. This is a team that is RPO-based and rabid in that capacity. They're averaging 189.3 rush yards per game, and Ohio's given up 162 on the ground and 5.1 yards per carry. So this is strength on weakness. I think Kent State and the Golden Flashes absolutely steamroll Ohio and could win this thing like 35-14 in the end. So give me Kent State. I will lay the chalk there at minus 11.5. All right, Lundy, with the college picks in the books, let's get after it here. NFL Week 4 with another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, let's go to a running back on the board that I'm rather high on, and that is Damien Pierce. Not only for fantasy devices, I'm heavily invested in his services. I think I extended the Go Gadget arm in every single draft that I'm in and got him acquired probably within 2 rounds ahead of his average draft position. But so far, so good. A breakthrough performance last week against my Chicago Bears. And I feel the odds makers have not yet caught up, and that's why I'm taking the over on 59.5 rush yards, minus 115 at DraftKings. Look, he's seeing just over 60% of the opportunity shares because he's playing just over 60% of the total snap share for the Texans. He's RB16 in yards after contact per attempt at 3.46. So he's getting it done. The advanced analytics. He's getting it done with the eye test. He's forced a missed tackle, outstanding 28.6% of the time. And you look at the matchup, the vulnerability of the Chargers has been in the trenches. Evidence last week, James Robinson went bananas. Travis Etienne did some damage on the ground. In total, the Bolts haven't exactly been hitting their targets here. 5.29 yards per carry allowed and over 103 rush yards per game allowed as well. CH went over this, and I mentioned James Robinson went over this total. So as long as Damien Pierce is getting roughly 15 to 17 attempts, which I feel he will, and you do worry about game flow and script. Can the Texans be competitive in this one? I say they can for roughly 2.5 quarters, and that's all I need to score a winning ticket. So give me the over on Pierce, 59.5 rush yards, minus 115 at DraftKings. Lundy, fade or follow.
Do you have a towel handy?
I have a Kleenex.
Okay, because you're going to be sweating this one.
Ooh,
there you go. I think you're going to be sweating this one late, and I think it's because of the game flow. Look, I like Damien Pierce as well. I just would like him a lot better if he weren't on the Texans, because I think the opportunity would be there a lot more for him. I'm with you in terms of it's going to be, obviously, this is true with every running back. This is like Captain Obvious little John Madden statement, but it's all about how many rush attempts he gets. And that's my concern, is because of the game script. And you could wind up in one that is rather ugly. He's got the skill set. Man, he's fun to watch when he actually gets rolling. That's why I keep saying he's one of those guys that I look at and I go, God, could we put him on a better team and then watch him run the ball? Because I think it'd be a heck of a lot more fun. I think he's going to flirt with that 60 number. You're going to be hoping he gets to the low 60s. I'm going to follow you on this one, but I'm telling you, I think you're sweating big late in the game on this one.
Extra layer of Old Spice underneath the arms. I'm going to be sweat-free in the end.
Number 4.
All right. Rah, 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 rah. Rah, 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 rah. As in Ramondre Stevenson on this one. A numero quattro here on the Fade 5 today. I'm going to take the over, not on rush yards, but receiving yards for the Patriots running back. It's just 13.5 receiving yards at minus 115. At DraftKings. And Stevenson really got a spike in playing time last week. Damien Harris is banged up. He suffered that knee injury late in the week 2 matchup. So he might have been sequestered a little bit because of that. But Stevenson played 62.5% of the snap share in week 3. He got Brian Hoyer likely in. Mac Jones presumably out with that high ankle sprain. And I think Hoyer, the veteran, is going to be checking down like crazy to both running backs in this game, and especially Stevenson, who's averaging 16 routes per contest. He's got a 77.8 catch rate, which is one of the best in the NFL at the position right now. He's number 4 in yards created per touch. So when he is in the open field, he's showing that shimmy, that shake as well to get loose from the would-be tacklers to get some of those chunk gains. He had 4 for 28 through the air last week. And I think it's going to be a similar output against the Green Bay Packers, who've allowed 12 receptions for 76 total yards to the running back position through 3 games. So Lundy, rah, 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 rah. You got to jam out with me on Ramondre Stevenson, over 13.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at DK.
I can't handle your Lady Gaga. I can't do it. There's nothing appealing about it. I mean, it's kind of frightening, more than anything else.
Hey,
and
it's nearly October.
Yeah, but if you start doing like duets with Bradley Cooper, we got a big time problem. All right, let me get to the matter at hand. We shall follow on this one. 1, the snap count went up. 2, something you brought up right there at the end. I want to talk about the Packers. Dalvin Cook, 3 catches for 18. David Montgomery, 2 catches for 14. Leonard Fournette, 5 catches for 35. That's the last 3 weeks. The Packers have allowed a back to do this to them in 3 straight weeks. If Ramondre is on the field, looking at you, Belichick, put his ass on the field. If he's on the field, he's got the opportunity to do it. It's much like we talked about with Damien Pierce. So if last week and his snap count and the routes that he's run, if that trend continues, he should obliterate this number. It shouldn't even be close. He should beat this by 10 yards. He should be up in the mid-20s. We just need to make sure that we don't get Belichicked.
Yeah, you definitely will get Belichick, but it could be a bad romance. I say no with Ramondre.
Number 3.
All right, let's live in a land down under. And one of my favorite under wagers this week is on Antonio Gibson of the Washington Commanders. And I'm taking the under on 74.5 combined rushing and receiving yards. Pull this from BetMGM at -115. There's a disturbing sign. If you notice, Antonio Gibson and his snap rates, they have declined in 3 consecutive weeks. He only played on 45.3% of the snaps in week number 3. He's still seeing 64.6% of the opportunity share, which is encouraging, but Brian Robinson is working his way back, coming off that unbelievable attempted carjacking, which he was shot multiple times, once in the leg, and we cannot wait to see him back on the field. And he has been practicing, and he's going to force a full-blown timeshare once activated. So maybe this is kind of a last hurrah for Gibson. Maybe he's got something to prove, but he's RB 51 right now in yards created per touch. That's unsightly in that category. And he's gone 130 in total yards, 41 and 40 in back-to-back weeks. Dallas, sure, they're giving up a handsome 4.58 yards per carry and 126.7 total yards per game, but it's all about that declining snap rate with Antonio Gibson, and for that reason, I'm fully fading him. Lundy, do you agree on Antonio Gibson under 74.5 rush and receiving yards combined, -115 at BetMGM? Fade or follow?
I'm going to fade only because I don't like it. I don't like the number. I don't like the question marks about him. I don't like it about his usage. Because if you look at the Cowboys have been allowing somebody to do this to them every week. It's been happening. So to me, I agree with you. I don't like what I've seen out of Antonio Gibson. If you own him in fantasy right now, you're just hating. You're hating life, man. I mean, you're hitting the bottle early. It's ugly. But I'm staying away from this one. I don't disagree with the logic that you've got behind it. It's just I don't like this number because we're talking about the combined. And look, 24 hours ago, you decided to like, I don't know, like swim with the sharks and take the under on Tyreek Hill, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah, so I'm not. I'm a little worried when you decide to live in the land down under. So I'm going to stay away from this one because sometimes I think you're tempting the gods just a little too much.
And you talked about needing some liquid sustenance maybe to get through potentially this wager or maybe everything on the damn board. And if so, go out and grab yourself a bottle of Suavecito tequila. Wherever you get your fine liquors, it's very affordable. Tequila, and it is wonderful in taste, and it's ultra smooth as well. I'm a big fan of the añejo. I like the vanilla finishes that are out there. And look, they've got quite the track record. In 2015, Forbes magazine in New York City contacted 10 tequila experts. I was not one of them, but the next time, please do. One in California, New York, Florida, states where people know their tequila. And they asked those experts only one question: what is the best tasting tequila sold in the United States? And the answer, what Forbes magazine printed on their front page a week later, was Suavecito Añejo. So go pick up a bottle right now and live dangerously this weekend. Drink the entire bottle and hopefully, hit the over on some of these props or hit the under on Antonio Gibson. And if you miss, you still have the Suavecito that you can lean on to numb the pain. Go grab a bottle
Number 2
right now and grab this prop right now as well. And number 2 on the Fade 5 this week is Tyler Lockett. Put him in your pocket, Lundy. I'm taking the over on 62.5 receiving yards. And this one's a gift, in my opinion. It opened at 59.5. That's where I grabbed it. I would still play this number up, maybe as high as like 68.5, 69.5. Why? It's all about the matchup against Detroit. He's going to see some loose coverage in this game, especially out of the slot, where he's playing about a third of the time. Mike Hughes in slot coverage this season has been targeted 8 times, has given up 5 receptions for an average of 17.9 yards per catch and a 145.8 passer rating. You look at the last 2 weeks, it's really all the evidence you need on Lockett to get behind this wager. 22 targets from Geno Smith for 18 catches, 183 yards. He's number 2 in average target separation, which has always been a staple of his game. And, again, because he splits time outside in the slot, I like him more than DK Metcalf. And I think the volume is going to stay cranked in a sneaky shootout affair between Seattle and Detroit. So fade or follow my over, and a very confident over wager here on Tyler Lockett, 62.5 receiving yards, -110. That's it at BetMGM.
I think he's up in the 70s by the time we're done. So I'm comfortable with this one. You talked about that you grabbed it at 59.5. Hey, it's great. It's nice to be able to grab it early. Yes, it's gone up by 3 yards. And I know sometimes people that try to compare where the current stats are to what we've got up on the spreadsheets, up on Twitter, and you go, oh man, it's already moved by this many. This is one that's okay. Folks, it's okay that this one moved, because I'm with you. I think he jumps. I think this does have a sneaky shootout appeal to it between these two teams on the turf in Detroit. So yeah, I play this one. Depending upon when you're listening to the pod, even if this thing keeps creeping up, if it gets into the, say, upper 60s, maybe I decide to back off just in case. But I think he gets up into the 70s, but I'm comfortable. This one's at 62.5 now. I think you could do it at 65, 66, 67, right in that range. Then maybe you back off a little bit, look for some better value somewhere else, or take this one, Brad, because you and I both believe that this has the potential to be a shootout. This is one of the games that I've got marked on the schedule to be looking for some good value in one-game parlays for this weekend because of the potential of the shootout. These are ones where you can go in and go, okay, give me Lockett at 50 plus, give me so go find a couple of smaller ones, get yourself a nice payday on an OGP of maybe a plus 130, 135. You'll be cashing a good ticket on Sunday. This is a game to be watching for that, because I agree with you. I think we may see a lot of points. Lots of points means we got the chance for a lot of good player props on the overs, and those are good on those OGPs.
Oh, Tyler Lockett, you're oh so lovely.
Number 1.
All right, little Team Huevos play here. I am going for my top play this week, all the Fave 5 podcasts at OGP. Are you with me, Lundy? Are you with me? Let me preach some knowledge to you if you're not. I'm going to go Elijah Moore, 30-plus receiving yards. And then I'm going to take both running backs on receiving yards as well on alt lines. These are all lines you can put together on OGP at MGM. Breece Hall, 10-plus receiving yards. And Michael Carter, man, just give me 1, maybe 2 catches, 8-plus receiving yards. Uno, dos, tres, mi amigos. All 3 legs hit. You're looking at plus 165 at BetMGM. The reason why I'm high, especially on Elijah Moore, is a change of quarterback. Go from Joe Flacco to Zach Wilson, and you already have an established rapport and chemistry between Wilson and Moore. And Moore has ran more routes than any receiver in the NFL so far this season. He's been over this 30-yard mark in every single game. He's got 49, 41, and 49 yards. I've already wagered on Elijah Moore on the over, which has climbed up. I got it at 37.5 receiving yards. On the standard line, it's up to 42.5, and I would still play the over there because he's wide receiver 14 in deep targets, and he's wide receiver 14 in total air yards, wide receiver 13 in ADOT. So the underlying numbers are pointing me in one direction and one direction only. Again, with that rhythm established with Wilson, they could really take advantage of that deep ball ability of Elijah Moore. Then you look at the running backs. I know Flacco's been a check down machine, but this is kind of the nature of the Jets offense in general. If you go back to last year, Zach Wilson often targeted the running backs in the backfield. And you look at all he's running 18.3 routes per game. He's been over this number in every single contest this season, the 10 on the alt line. And you look at Michael Carter, he's done a step better. He's running 22 routes per game. I know he had the 7 puzzling receiving yards last week, but he had 40 in week 1 and 27 in week 2. And you look at Pittsburgh, 4 running backs have recorded at least 10 receiving yards against him this season, as they're giving up 5.3 receptions and 43.3 receiving yards per game to the running back position. So I absolutely adore. I am head over heels on this player prop. I have no idea why I was talking like a woman from New York there, but Elijah Moore, 30-plus receiving yards. Breece Hall, 10-plus receiving yards, and it's contagious. Michael Carter, 8-plus receiving yards, all 3 legs hit, plus 165 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow?
I think Carter's going to screw you in this one. I just got to tell you, I like this play because I like the payday. I like that this one's up to a plus 165. A lot of times we build these one-game parlays. They sit around the 120 mark, right? This one's up to 165, so I'm willing to roll the dice on this one. This might be like a half unit play. This could be a Funston. I don't know. It may try to sneak that in there. But why do I just have this bad feeling that Michael Carter is going to screw you in this 3-legger? I'm serious.
I'm going to get screwed.
Yeah.
I'm going to get screwed.
He's going to catch one and get tackled for like a 4-yard loss. And he's going to finish like right at 7.
He's running 22 routes a game, and I don't think there's any kind of rhyme or reason if it's Breece Hall who's got a lion's share of pass down work, or if it's Michael Carter. Just split it down the middle. That's all I'm asking the coaching staff to do, and if that happens, we're going to hit the over easily with both these guys.
All right. I'm just telling you, Carter's probably going to screw you. I'll have some fun with this one. I probably won't go nuts on it. Like I said, I'm trying to build some OGPs out of a couple of the other games that I feel pretty confident in, one of which is that Seattle-Detroit one we were just talking about. But you're going to see some fun ones. I'll have those posted up on my spreadsheet. Obviously, you've got yours. Both of us have them pinned on our Twitter account, so make sure you're following and you go grab those.
Yes, royal screwing imminent, and probably additionally as well, it bonus time. Lundy, college football, maybe Major League Baseball, the rest of the NFL slate. What else do you like this weekend?
Oh, all right. Let me get one other NFL one in there, and I think you and I are actually in agreement on this one. I like the over on Jalen Hurts' passing yards, which sits right now as of last night. I think it was at 250.5. So I feel pretty confident in that one. The Jags are giving up 268, I think, on average per game to opposing quarterbacks. But remember, mixed in there was an absolutely abysmal game from Matt Ryan, who finished with a 34 passer rating because he had 3 picks in that game and only finished with 195 yards. Otherwise, you would have seen that average number that the Jags have given up would be even higher than it is. There's just a bad game from Matt Ryan mixed in there. So I really like Jalen Hurts to go over on his passing total, and I would actually play that all the way up to maybe the upper 250s, 257, 258, and still feel confident with that one. I think he gets just 260 comfortably, and maybe even up to 270. So I really like that one. I told you that I've got an alt line for tonight's college football action, and there's actually 5 games scheduled for tonight in college football that you can jump on. But let me give you this alt line one. The Fighting Roadrunners, UTSA, will be taking on Middle Tennessee. I'm going to bring an alt line on the total on this one. I'm going to take over at 59.5, bringing that one down just a little bit, but then playing the over. And then let me do an alt line on UCLA and Washington. Yes, I know the Huskies have jumped up and they're ranked, but I believe UCLA can keep this close. This one is being played in SoCal, so I'm going to take an alt line there, take UCLA plus 7.5. So the Bruins plus 7.5, UTSA and Middle Tennessee State over 59.5, both of those on alt lines. That is a plus 121 at DraftKings. Couple more college football plays for you tomorrow. 25 is too many points. Give me Pat Fitzgerald and Northwestern to cover against Penn State. I just think 25 is too much. I'm going to go ahead and roll with this one. I know it's a little bit of a gamble, but I'm going to play that one. I think they cover. And this is a great stat, Brad. In the history of their football program, you're familiar with the Miners of UTEP, correct?
Oh, yeah. Aaron Jones, you.
Okay. UTEP has never won in the Eastern time zone in the history of their football program. They are 0-26-1 in the Eastern time zone, and they're actually favored. So give me Charlotte +3 against UTEP tomorrow, and I say the Eastern time zone jinx against the Miners continues.
That's a great play. Strong factoid there. Fade the Miners of UTEP. I'm going to stick with the college theme here in bonus time. Yeah, there's some bias baked into this, but it is the Brett Bielema Bowl in Madison on Saturday, and I think Illinois covers the 7 against the Badgers. I actually locked this in earlier in the week when it opened at 8.5, believe it or not. And the reason why I think this is going to probably be like a 3 or 4 point victory for the Badgers, Graham Mertz is going to have to do some vertical damage against Illinois secondary because you cannot run on the Illini, as Illinois is giving up just 87.3 rush yards per game and 2.9 yards per carry. Meanwhile, they're running the ball effectively with Chase Brown, who is on pace for roughly 10,000 yards this year. It's crazy what he has done so far this season. 604 rush yards in total. I think Illinois scores the cover at what should be a low-scoring affair. And fading Colorado makes you money. Keep doing it. I'm taking Arizona -17.5 in this contest. You look at the Wildcats are averaging 425.3 total yards per game offensively. Now, they're giving up 416.6 defensively, but Colorado can't move the damn ball. They're one of the worst offenses in the country. And on the ground, they're giving up over 300 rush yards per game and 7 yards per carry. So Michael Wiley and DJ Williams are going to do damage, and a lot of it in this game. I think Arizona wins this one by 20 plus. All right, back to the NFL. 3 quick player props for you additionally that I like. Give me Brandon Cooks. I know the line has moved on receiving yards. I'm taking the over on the former Beeve on 62.5 yards for him against the LA Chargers. He's still seeing 28.2% of the target share. It's 9.7 targets per game. Number 17 in unrealized air yards. I think some of those are going to become realized because J.C. Jackson, who's going to be his primary adversary in this contest, last week returned to the lineup. Was targeted 5 times, gave up 5 receptions for 70 yards. That shakes out to a 158.3 passer rating. I think Cooks cracks 70 in this one. Sticking to the wide receiver theme, I'm going to take Amari Cooper over 56.5 receiving yards. That's it for the Cleveland Brownie. He's seeing a massive target share of 30.7%. That's 9 per game. He is number 1 among all wideouts in air yards percentage right now. Top 10 as well in yards per route run. And you look at the last couple of weeks, 21 targets, 16 catches for 232 yards. And against Atlanta and Casey Hayward, who used to be a respectable corner, not anymore. He's been very generous based on his 158.3 passer rating allowed. That's all the evidence that you need there. And last and certainly not least for me, Justin Fields, I think is actually going to throw the ball 20 times. That's the magic number. I need 20 pass attempts, and he'll get over the 148.5 pass yards prop. I think he cracks 150 this week. He even said he sucked. He was trash a week ago, but he's number 5 right now in air yards per attempt. The Bears have got to add some balance. Dan Montgomery is unlikely to play. You're going to get some Khalil Herbert in there. So you look at the Giants. Yeah, they're giving up 6.73. That's it. Pass yards per attempt. But come on, Justin. Just, throw the rock 20 times, and you're going to hit $150 and cash the over there in the end. And I am out of time, and so is Lundy here on this rapid fire edition of the Fade 5 podcast. Drop us a rating and a review wherever you're consuming this podcast, would you kindly? Shout out again to our partners, Suavecito Tequila. Grab a glass this weekend and thank Lundy and I a little bit later. Until next time, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you.